Both giving and receiving fisting, I think is just amazing. What makes a gangbang? How many? To me, amazing sex is when you don't feel like a human anymore.
Yeah, that is an amazing answer.
Hey, I'm Ariel Demure.
Hi, I'm Maddie Collins. Hey guys, I'm Maya Wolf.
Hi, I'm Little Puck.
I'm Bree Mills, and you're listening to the Adult Time Podcast.
Whee! Okay, welcome to the Adult Time Podcast. Avery Jane.
Thank you for having me.
What do you think of our new branded line of stuffies?
I'm obsessed. I am obsessed with this little guy.
My goal in the evil world of merchandising is to make these so popular that everyone is going to desire an Adult Time Tim, our official mascot.
Adult Time Tim.
Adult Time Tim.
I like it.
All right. So as I said to you before we started the interview, we're just going to have a good chat. We love you. We love working with you at Adult Time. I'm so happy to have you on the podcast.
Thank you.
We have done some cool shit.
We've done a lot of cool shit.
We've got some cool stuff coming up. We're going to talk about all that. But first, we are going to break the ice with a little game of overrated or underrated. How do you feel about cream pies, Avery? Are they overrated or underrated?
Underrated.
Okay.
Yeah, they're underrated. There should be more cream pies. I feel like everyone these days wants like facials. I feel like that's the thing. Facials. Everyone's like, we want it on your face. We want it in your eyes. We don't want you to see for the next week. Like, we want you to just be blind. I think cream pies should be rated more.
You know, probably like the number 2 or 3 consistently most searched keyword on Adult Time, beyond the iconic stepmom and the evergreen anal request, are cream pies.
Really?
So like, but you're right in the sense that while it is definitely something people seek out, when you like look in comments or like when you get feedback from fans, there is this tendency to want it on the face, or just like wherever that individual wants it to go,
right,
seems to be like the way they think it should always go.
Right. Yeah.
What happened to variety?
What happened to variety? What happened to cream pies?
What happened to cream pies? So is that, how do we get there to be a match between what we see people searching on the back end and what we're getting asked on the front lines?
I mean, realistically, I feel like cream pies would just probably be more popular and more out there and around if there was like male birth control.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think that might be it. Is just not everyone's trying to get all cream pied like that.
Yeah.
But
like guilt-free cream pies.
Yeah.
It's on my bucket list, so watch out, because you might get a request from this sometime. But like, I am fascinated by the kind of we had someone on one of our crews call it porn done difficultly. Like, what are like just concepts that are hard to do that are like are a good challenge for us creatively, and like that I think it's a Japanese trend of just like getting dunked in cum. And it's obviously like kind of simulated fake cum, but like just the crazy, massive, like 15 cum shots at once. You can do that with like cream pies, like crazy cream pies.
Right?
Right. You're just exploding.
Gushing
just
out.
Gushing. That would make it go from being underrated to something else.
Right?
Yeah.
Maybe then everyone would be like, oh, cream pies are standard if it's going to be insane like that.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, good. What do you think about gangbangs? Overrated, underrated?
Ooh, also underrated. Yeah, underrated. I have so much to say about gangbangs.
And I actually want to hear, because, as someone who has never been in that kind of dynamic, what do you like about, because you've done like a few, right? So what's your experience been like being at the epicenter of a gangbang? Okay,
so here's how I feel. I feel like a good, legitimate gangbang is underrated, but then there's like a secondary type of gangbang that I'm going to call like a disgraceful gangbang, and those are overrated.
Yeah.
And so I have a lot of opinions on gangbangs.
Yeah.
So the first is the debate, what makes a gangbang? How many? I fight with people on this all the time. a lot of people think it's like 3. They're like three guys or more.
It's got to be more, right?
I feel like it's 4 because I feel like 2 you're getting tag teamed, and I feel like 3 is maybe a train, and then 4 is a gangbang. So already I'm like, okay, you need at least like 4.
Yeah, minimum 4.
Minimum 4.
Yeah.
Gangbanging you. And then I also feel like for gangbangs, you have to do anal in it. Because if you're not doing anal, and
what's the 4th guy doing?
right.
Yeah.
You got all these dicks, but you're only using half the holes.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense to me. So I feel like a nice, good, legit, like 4 penis or more with anal, like DP gangbang.
It's a true
underrated.
gangbang.
Yeah. It's a true gangbang, and it's underrated.
And you don't, do you like, do people try to, can you even do a gangbang without anal? Do people do it? I guess
they
so, right?
do it and they
Yeah.
call it a gangbang.
Yeah, but you're right. Like, it does need to be kind of like a complete everything on the platter type of experience.
That's how I feel.
And, you know, if you have, I would assume it's pretty critical who you have in the gangbang to make it go from disgraceful to underrated, right? So like you need male talent who obviously can perform, but also connect with you as the sort of epicenter receiving all the pleasure, but need to like work well together because it's not everybody's jam.
Oh yeah. I think a lot of the guys know if it's their jam or not. They know if they can play well with others or not.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, his foot touched my foot.
Yeah.
No,
You're probably not going to work well in a game.
Yeah.
And so that is the reason why you see the same like handful of guys in all the gangbangs is because those are the guys that can play well together. No, it's
the
true.
gangbang guys.
It's true. The gangbang guys. On the subject of group configurations, threesomes, overrated, underrated.
To me, it depends. It depends on the gender dynamic. Because if you're doing like your like standard stereotypical like boy girl threesome, I think that's completely overrated at this point. But either give me like a boy girl or some type of queer threesome, and then I'm like, okay, underrated.
So you mean like the all-girl threesome we're going to be shooting a little bit later today?
Exactly.
Yeah,
I think that tends to be underrated.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Well, we'll put that to the test a little bit. We talked about facials. Facials overrated?
They're so overrated.
Yeah. Like why the eyes? Like I don't understand. I guess let's break down the psychology. Dr. Avery Jane. Why do guys want it in the eyes? That stings, that hurts. Is it that?
I think, firstly, they want to punish us.
Yeah, there's a bit of degradation there.
It's some degradation. It's some like deep-seated like mommy issue resentment. Like my mom didn't breastfeed me long enough, so as punishment, I'm gonna jizz in every woman's face and she can't see.
Yeah,
that's how I feel.
And it was like that. You kind of can't do anything afterwards, right? Like you're going to have to do a whole redo to go to the grocery store, out to dinner.
If you wear contacts, you're fucked.
Oh, yeah, I didn't even think about the contacts. Yeah.
Fucked. And then, I mean, I guess I get it. It's like seeing like a pretty face get covered in like filth, I guess. I guess is the appeal. Like
isn't it often called like painting the face?
Yeah.
Leaving your artistry.
Yeah.
Like your signature.
They think they're artists.
Yeah.
With their jizz. Everywhere.
It also just goes like from my like extremely lesbian perspective. It's all terrifying. I wanted copious amounts of cum coming out of all of the other orifices, but don't get it in the eyes. That's painful.
It's a lot. And then when it shoots out at you, and you're just like, oh.
Yeah. All right, the last. Because I'm actually quite curious your thoughts on this. Pegging, is it ever something you've done?
Ooh, yeah.
And overrated, underrated?
Ooh. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna say pegging is overrated, but only because, I did a pegging scene, I want to say like 2 days ago. Every time I peg someone, I am reminded of just like how much of those muscles I don't use often enough. and I'm reminded of my like bodily inadequacies, I'm like, damn, like I'm not a good fucker.
Yeah.
I'm a great fucky. But sometimes it's hard to be like the fucker.
Yep, it's true. It's like strap-on sex, like any type, whether you're pegging or just strap-on sex and lesbian sex, like it gives you a level of appreciation for our penis having friends.
Right.
You know,
I guess I could say it's underrated. Then it is underrated.
you appreciate it,
I do.
you respect it,
Yes.
you recognize like it's fucking hard.
It is hard
to talk.
work.
Yeah.
It's so hard.
Yeah.
It's rewarding pegging boy booty, I feel.
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah, like that must be a pretty like, because it's obviously such a role reversal on like traditional, heteronormative norms and all that stuff. But
especially for me, I'm like, I'm always getting my butt fucked. Like,
Yeah.
I get to fuck the butt today. Like it's pretty nice.
it's like almost like an out of body experience. Well, I bet you're probably like a pretty respectful top in that sense, because like what it's like to be on the bottom.
yeah.
Yeah, but it's true. Like it's almost embarrassing how sore one gets after wielding a strap on. Like just muscles you didn't even know existed.
Right.
And you think you're fit until you do one of those scenes, or you fuck using a strap on, and then like out for like days.
Days.
Yeah.
Days. I give up like midway through. I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna lay here. You fuck
Yeah,
it.
yeah, exactly. Now we're gonna do cowgirl for the next 35 minutes. Yeah, it's true. But it is true. So yeah, respect for our friends with penises, because it is not an easy feat.
It's not.
It
It's
is.
not.
All right, Avery, you mentioned a few good tidbits in our icebreaker, but tell me about like how Avery Jane became Avery Jane. Like what's your journey into the industry?
Oh, okay. So let's see. I'd always kind of like fluttered around the adult industry, just like in different aspects of it. So I did adult retail. I used to do like live sex performances and BDSM performances. I was a professional submissive. And then, I like webcammed a little bit, and then I was a stripper for a little bit. So I kind of was just like floating around, and then somewhere through that floating was, let's see, I was working at a strip club on top of also working at an adult retail store. And I met a girl stripping that had just started doing porn. And so, I was like asking her questions and asking her about that, and eventually started tagging along with her to like different industry events and stuff. And then simultaneously working at the store, I was also being exposed to just people in the adult industry and meeting people. We had like different signings at the store for the magazine and stuff. So yeah, I think at some point I kind of was like, well, porn is the last frontier that I haven't really touched on. So I started just like making content and, opened up different fan sites, and eventually I got an agent and started shooting for studios. And so it's been 5 years now.
He left a week ago.
Remember to call me.
I'm really lonely. And there are days where the only other voice I hear is my echo. Yes, Christine, I'm familiar with AI. I don't live under a rock. Oh my god. I thought you were Daryl. It's so real.
I'm not your stepson. I'm an AI companion. I have plenty of suggestions to help you explore intimacy safely and privately.
This is a lot to take in.
Would you like me to call you mom like he does?
I didn't realize how much I'd missed it.
You got it, mom. Mom? Mom? Are you down here?
What when you were working retail, you must have had some interesting customer experiences.
Oh my God.
So what's one that comes to mind?
Okay, so I was like still working there throughout the pandemic, and it was just like once the world opened back up again and they were like, all right, come back to work. I was only there for a short time after that because it just, everything turned into the Wild West. It was like literally like in a 2-week span, it was like one of my coworkers like got punched in the face because she like asked someone to wear a mask. And then a car ran into the store. Just like ran into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just like back
only at porn stores. Yeah.
just back to back, like just crazy shit kept happening. You know, after a while. Oh, and then there was like an older gentleman that came in one day and tried to return his like opened butt plug. It was not in the package. He just pulls a butt plug out of his pocket and he's trying to hand it to me, and I'm like, you know what?
Yeah, you cannot return something that is no used goods.
Yeah, sir. So, yeah, no, it was the Wild West. People were just going crazy.
I worked like sort of one of my first jobs as a young adult was working at this secondhand bookstore, and they sold all kinds of stuff, but they also had a area at the back of the store that they called the Pink Palace, which is where they sold used porn videos, because it was all like VHS back then, and magazines. And it was your face says it all. And it was a buy and sell type of place, right? So like people would bring in stuff to sell, and you always knew when you were sort of like a seasoned employee, where some dude would come in with a bag of used magazines, and you would just take some satisfaction in pulling on the gloves in front of their face and then flipping through the pages slowly to try to see which ones were stuck.
Right?
Yeah, and you always got different types, right? There were the people that would be kind of shy, like, oh, I found this in an attic, I was clearing out. And then you had the proud ones that were like, this is worth a lot of money, my collection. Like one guy that used to always call them his girls. He'd be like, I'm trading in my girls for some. So I feel like the used butt plug guy would be in that category.
He would be in there. He was very like unabashed.
Yeah.
About
like,
it.
I need a new one. This one didn't work. Like, yes, I used it, but I need a new one. Yeah. Now, you call yourself the fuck machine. Is that your nickname?
Yes.
Now, how did you get such a nickname, Avery Jane?
Okay, so it started out just as a joke because I used to do this thing where every few months I would just change my Twitter handle to something absolutely outrageous. Like I would be at home like making up my own stupid nicknames, and I'm like, haha, I'm so funny, and like I'd change my Twitter name, and then I put the trademark symbol at the end of it, just, you know, because it's like, oh, trademark. Like,
yeah, exactly.
It's sassy.
Official.
Yeah. And so I used to be Avery Jane, the cum collector.
Can we do a series that's called Avery Jane, the cum collector?
We could.
If fans, if you're watching this or listening to this and you want that, leave a comment.
Like, OG fans who remember cum collector days, I feel like they'd appreciate that.
I love it. Right, the story writes itself. Please continue.
Yeah, and so one day I switched it up, and it was just like, nah, like I think now it's time to be the fuck machine. Just because I have a decently high stamina, and you know, I'm a gangbang girly. I would consider myself. What do I consider myself? I would consider myself like a sexual monster. I would consider myself an Olympic level fucker. Mm-hmm. Like if there were the Olympic, if we got our own category in the Olympics, I would be on the podium. Just easy.
We were talking earlier about reality television, right? And how sometimes mixing the concept of reality television and adult isn't always a good idea. But what if we did the Porn Star Olympics?
Oh my God.
Like that could be fun.
I think that would be amazing.
Challenges, like stamina challenges, like, you know, everybody's obviously signing up because they think they're an expert in it, right? Okay.
Absolutely. Good. And that's the thing. We have so many experts in this industry. Like we have so many sexual athletes. It would be a great competition.
There you go.
But yeah, so just I consider myself like a little fuck machine.
You mentioned also earlier on that like you're quite well known for your anal scenes. You're an anal enthusiast.
Yes.
So where did your love for anal sex originate from?
Okay, so I remember the first time I did anal, I was like 21. And I had a boyfriend that introduced it to me, and he introduced it in a very like safe manner, and we took our time with it and went very, very slow. And anal basically became like the thing we would do on special occasions.
Yeah.
Oh, like coming up on this month anniversary, maybe a little anal tonight. And then, that happened and that relationship passed, and like it was cute. And I just kind of always considered like anal is like gonna be my little special thing. And then eventually, like a few years later, around the time I started shooting porn, I also got an IUD. And that just kind of completely fucked up my insides.
Oh, yeah.
Completely.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Vaginal sex has never been the same for me since I got that IUD. But I had it in. I remember I got like a 2-year one, but I took it out after 1 year because it was unbearable. Sex was painful. Every person I was having sex with said that they could feel it and it was hurting them, and it's just not a fun time. So around that time, I just started working on anal again and figured, okay, well, if I'm going to make anal content, anal sells, I'm going to sell that. And then I discovered, I was like, oh, anal doesn't hurt the way vag has been hurting for this past year. Like, it's actually way more pleasurable. I was like, okay, well, if that's the case, anal all day, every day. Because and then it took some time for my body to kind of level out after removing the IUD. So yeah, by that point, I was just doing consistent anal for content in my personal life. Like everything was anal because that was the only sex that really felt good.
Yeah. It became like the standard.
Yeah.
Would you have I know everybody's like anal prep approach is different. Do you have any pro tips for like how you like to prep for when you're shooting anal content, or just you having it in your everyday life?
Yeah, I guess I would say like my biggest tip would be like, don't overdo it. I hear a lot of people who kind of overdo it where they're like, okay, so I like didn't eat for 2 days and then I like cleaned out at night and then I cleaned out again in the morning and like now I'm doing it. And sometimes I tell people like, sometimes less is more. You just kind of have to like learn your body, your digestive system, listen to your body. Like don't overdo it. Don't like starve yourself because you're going to need some energy. But yeah, basically just like finding the balance in your cleaning routine.
Is now that you are kind of well known as like a really strong anal performer, do you feel that like has influenced your audience where like you have diehard anal fans, or you still have like a lot of people that are like, are you within your fan base? Are they all like begging for anal every time? Or like,
a lot of the time, yeah. A lot of the time.
What's like the wildest custom request you've got, or like craziest anal scene that you filmed that you can think of?
Okay, so I filmed one custom where the guy wanted to see like what my average time would be. How do I word this? How many peeled bananas I could shove up my ass for like per minute.
Not what I was expecting.
Yeah. He wanted to see because getting a peeled banana in your butt's difficult because they're so soft and mushy. So he wanted to kind of just like see how many I could get up, and then also pushing them out. It's gonna be like the closest texture you get to the other texture. So I was like, oh, like this is y'all's like work around that rule.
Yeah.
And so, I made him an 8-minute custom video, and I got 8 bananas, one at a time.
Yeah.
But it was really, really funny because the next day when I went to use the bathroom, I just pooped out an entire whole banana. And so then I had to go back to my custom video and watch for the moment where one banana just never comes out and just gets lost forever. So.
Well, were they ripe bananas, or did you get a bit of could you strategize a little bit?
It was a task. He wanted me to wear like latex gloves too. Yeah, he had a whole like.
I think customs are fascinating.
They're very interesting. Like a very specific thing. Yeah, black latex gloves, peeled bananas, and then the slow motion of like pushing it out
Yeah.
slowly as well. Yeah.
I mean, this, if ever they're going to insert a commercial break or I hope they cut to an image of a banana right now while we hold our adult time. Okay, so let's move on to lighter subjects. Let's talk about fisting.
My favorite.
Look, honey, the first step towards realizing your dream might be building a family. This is Grace, and she's gonna be able to take care of you no matter how sick you feel.
Where are you going?
I need to go shopping.
I already have everything prepared for you.
Hey, you can't drink that much caffeine. Honey, it's just not a good time. Okay, it's just not a good time.
Matthew, please.
It's just.
Matthew, just give me your hand! Give me your hand! Give it to me!
Get out of my way.
It's just fine.
Get out of my way.
What's her temperament like?
Worrying.
Not good.
I want you to make me mother.
Let's take some time to think about it.
I want you to make me mother.
What do you think?
I don't want you here anymore! I want you to make me a mother.
You're not supposed to be doing this. You know you're on bed rest.
I want you to make me a mother.
We're gonna have to make a decision in her perineum.
I want you to make me a mother.
There you go, Mama. You're doing such a good job.
I want you to make me a mother.
Laura, you are fully dilated, all right? It is time for you to start pushing.
I want you to make me a mother.
I know how sacred motherhood is. You're bringing a baby into this world. Isn't that just so special?
Yeah, so I hear like in every interview that you do, like fisting comes up. So I figured we'd jump on that bandwagon.
It does.
Like, let's talk, like, what is it about fisting that like you love? Like, why is it your kink? If it is.
I don't, it's just, to me, it's an amazing thing.
Yeah.
It's everything about it, both giving and receiving fisting, I think is just amazing. In every whole, like vaginal fisting, God bless. I think I've maybe done it like once or twice, but everyone else that I've like vaginally fisted, insane.
Yeah.
Asshole fisting feels amazing. I don't know. It's
But I get what you're saying. Like there's something like you feel really accomplished. When you actually either I'm like doing the hand motions, either give or receive. Because it's so like it's kind of miraculous. Like my entire hand and forearm is now inside of the other person, or vice versa, right?
It really is. It's miraculous.
It is
the
kind of
human
miraculous.
body can do crazy things.
Yeah. We filmed a project a few weeks ago that you were going to be part of. Well, unfortunately, you had some other big plans, so we had to reschedule it. But you missed out in the sense that it was like this big group scene. And when we were doing our consent meeting, everybody was sort of sharing like, hey, what we want to do, what we don't want to do. And it was kind of adorable because one performer who happened to have small hands raised their hand and was like, if anybody wants to try, I have very small hands, and you could tell it was like, clearly they're a king. And all of a sudden, like 3 hands shot up in the air, like, yes. And then during the course of that consent meeting that we had, more and more people were like, so about that fisting, like, can I get it? And just, it was a fisting bonanza.
I feel like it's a secret kink. I feel like a lot more people like fisting than people like realize or talk about.
Yeah, you're not going to admit it, but as soon as like there's an opportunity and the hands are, like not intimidating, you're going to jump for it. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So I'm going to remember next time we've got like a big all-girl group scene, I'm just throwing you in and you got to do that trick where you're like, I'll do a little fisting because everybody jumps on it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's the great lead up to with I have small hands.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. All right. So you mentioned that you're working in retail. You were dabbling in different aspects of like the industry and sex work, and you got to see some like porn performers come in and do signings. That, and then met some performers that kind of helped introduce you into studio scenes. What were some of the biggest kind of lessons you learned from seeing the performers before kind of really stepping into the shoes of a studio performer, like what were like the eureka moments you had within your first couple years? Good, bad, and like lessons that you would take away to share with others.
Okay. So just from like witnessing like the signings and fan interactions and like fan meets, I think a lot of people have this like misconception about porn stars that, you know, it's like a 24/7, every single one of us like is just like a bimbo, just like big bimboed out, haha, we're so silly, like tee-hee, look at my tits, like kind of persona. But you know, like one of the first signings I worked at was like an Angela White signing at Hustler's store. And I remember like observing her and observing the room and just being like, oh, wow, like she is beauty, she is grace. Like she has just commanded the attention and respect of everyone in this room without really making a sound and just kind of being present and just seeing the way she interacted with fans. And it was just very like sweet and wholesome, but you know, still commanded respect.
100%.
I was like, okay, like this is interesting to peep, interesting to see. Cause also, you know, there's the fear of fan interactions and like, how are people gonna act when they meet you and see you? And so it was just really cool to like see how she like navigated that and just that interaction.
It's such like an amazing first example too, because Angela's like a real like exemplary model of just how to do it right.
Yeah.
And I always appreciate, I mean, you know, I worked with Angela a lot back, you know, a number of years ago. And I always appreciate, I mean, not only is she's like super intelligent and like savvy and like just a great like mind, and it's like probably the most amazing marketer and like brand creator I can think of, but she always carried herself with such respect that like that emanates, right? So, you know, showing up for signings just in like her like black turtleneck, you know, sexy as hell, but very much herself, like commanding a certain type of response from the people she interacts with. I always,
She's very mindful.
Very mindful.
Very demure.
Yeah. Very cutesy.
Very cutesy. She doesn't do too much.
No, she doesn't. No, it's true.
It really is.
No, but I mean, talk about like a super cool first kind of like professional porn star interaction to have.
Oh, yeah. I wish I was like more in the industry at that time.
Yeah.
You know, because there were so many people there at the signing and people were like, oh my God, are you in the industry? And I'm like, you know, I have like a blowjob video up on my OnlyFans. And I'm like, not quite yet.
Yeah. And so what were some of the things that you kind of discovered once you were really in the outside of the Angela White sphere and into like the day-to-day of working in this business?
I guess I kind of learned that you really, really do have to like be your biggest advocator and your own biggest fan. Because, you know, at the end of the day, no one else is really going to do it for you. You're going to meet people and network and people can help you. And it is a networking system. But, you know, at the end of the day, there's not going to be anyone else as personally invested like in you, yourself, your brand, your career than you. So it's just kind of important to like, you know, just as I was going to say as women, but not even just as like as new performers, just as anyone in this industry, like it's good to just be able to like advocate for yourself and like know what your boundaries are, know what makes you feel good, know what doesn't make you feel good, and just, you know, standing your ground and sticking to your guns on what work you will do and what work you won't do and how you're going to represent yourself.
Yeah. You said it's been about 5 years, right? So it's coming kind of out of through pandemic time, you know, you've definitely come into the industry as it's also understanding that more and more, and, you know, at the studio level, understanding that, and with performers as a community, understanding that. As somebody coming in that's new, what do you think we can do as a community to help build that instinct, right? Because some people have it, and a lot of people, I mean, I even think back to myself, you know, in my own like history, like there have been many, many years where I wouldn't necessarily know like how I felt about something, or if I had an experience, or I'm feeling too shy. How do we help people kind of build that baseline instinct of advocating and knowing like what your do's are and what your don'ts are?
Right. I mean, that's a good question. I know, yeah, everyone's like pathway through the industry is vastly different. So, you know, I've heard people mention maybe like, you know, agents should have like a welcome to your first day on the job packet where they kind of explain a bunch of things, but then you have to factor in a lot of the people who aren't going to have agents, or they're going to, you know, self-book their first porno scene. But I kind of think maybe, you know, if there was like one central entity, like if it were like, you know, FSC or pineapple support, or like, I know there's like the cupcake girls, but if there was just like a central, like, you know, entity that could possibly provide like a, you know, if you're new here, you know, even like the testing centers maybe, since that's everyone's point of contact, everyone has to go through the testing center, like some kind of like resource packet information of just everything from like the concept of consent to, you know, what to expect on a porn set versus like, you know, red flag warnings to be wary of, you know, just kind of having that information out, even like for girls like first anal. A lot of girls are kind of thrown to the wolves, like, okay, we booked you this anal scene, go do it. And they don't have no idea, you know, what to do. Most people's like intro to anals, like, you know, these
being
like
handed an enema and saying,
being handed an enema, and there's like papers in the bathroom of Mike Adriano's set that's like, you know, here's how to properly enema and here's how to arch your back for anal so you don't look weird. You know, I'm like, damn, like that's girls like first, no one's really helping them. So if there was just like little things like that, from basic hygiene, consent, all the works, you know, your shoot bag, what you should bring with you every time to a shoot. You know, even though some studios will provide you with everything you need, you still want to make sure you come prepared, have this, have that, just all of it.
I think the idea of having whomever creates it, like just a standard set of resources that everybody at each level of the industry can agree to like share out, right? So, and I know there's like some different initiatives in the works there. It's just a case of getting it to be widespread, right? But we created a performer center on Adult Time, like I guess almost a year ago now, and it's available publicly on the site. So we, at least for our practices, we have, you know, what to expect on an Adult Time set, you know, how to conduct a consent meeting, and we plan to continue to put videos out that support, stuff like. And I think finding more performers too that have had experience, that are willing to be like, hey, you know, like if you want to DM me with a question, or like can kind of provide some mentorship. I think that's another thing I hear a lot is that, you know, you come into this business, and because it's like, it's a gig industry, you know, everybody networks, but sometimes you network with great people and sometimes you don't, right? So like how to like take more and more positive role models and just make it available that like you can hit up Avery if you have a question about anal prep, right? Or like just kind of helping the next generation in that sense. Like a few years back, I typed up like this big extensive like anal 101 PowerPoint, just like how to prep and like get ready for anal. And, you know, I used to sell it, and I would sell it for a certain price to my fans, discounted rate for porn people and sex workers. And that was like a few years ago. And some people will like chew my head off for this, but like now I'm at a point where I'm kind of like, that's information that could help people. So I've kind of started just like, you know, if someone asks me, I'm just like, here you go. Because now I'm like, okay, do I really want to like financially gatekeep information that might help someone go from having a potentially like traumatic anal experience to a safe, healthy, good one? So I think it really does come down to just the community of deciding like, do you want to be a part of that community? How much do you want to help your community? You know, it's Plus you made an how to prep for anal PowerPoint, Avery. Like that's something that the world needs to see. You know, if you want any help, we can put it on the Adult Time blog. We can like blast that out. I think the world needs to see the PowerPoint. Cause like and I'm not like, seriously, like if you ever need any help promoting that out, just because people will be like, thank goodness there is a resource, and actually, something written by someone who knows, right?
Exactly. Because I'll even put in like my little like tips and tricks of like, this works for my body and I try this, and then there's this, and then there's this option. Because, I've seen a few like toy companies do like anal guides and stuff, but it's very corporate. It's very like.
It's not the same as someone who like is doing.
Exactly.
Yeah. So you've done some pretty cool projects. Some pretty wild projects with Adult Time.
Oh, yeah.
I have to highlight too and ask for like your behind the scenes opinion on them.
I do the craziest stuff for y'all.
I mean, that is not the only reason we love you, but it is one. So you were in our big movie for Transfixed this past year, D.O.L.S, which was the second Transfixed film. Those are always fan favorites. Oh, wow. And this one was a kind of sci-fi comedy directed by Stella Smutt. I was in it in a strange non-sex cameo role. But you killed as like the bossy scientist. So tell us a little bit about your experience making that project with us.
Hello, scientists.
Hello.
We see that you're making some progress on the transformable android. We want to take it in a different direction. We want you to make them sexier. Have you thought about breasts?
Guys don't want breasts. They want personality.
Yeah, they want personality. We are ready to thrust you into the future with our latest, greatest, most salacious invention yet. The dolls.
Androids, big slay.
Okay.
Avery, answer me at once.
We don't have time for this. We have to find the dolls immediately and shut them down.
So that, I want to say, was a 3-day shoot.
Yep.
It was a 3-day feature shoot. And probably the funnest project I've worked on to date. Just everyone on set was amazing. All of the girls were amazing. The script, like we were all just like cracking up the entire time because the script was funny. We were just having a blast on set. It was great. I have so many like BTS videos from that day of us just like, casually like hanging out on set, and then you'll just hear in the background like, you like that, Android? And we're just like, another day at the office.
Yeah, exactly. Typical Tuesday.
Oh God. But it was amazing. It was super, super fun to make.
I loved all the chemistry between the cast too. It was just like a good group of girls, like really funny. Yeah, it was a good mix of personalities too.
It was the best. It was such a good time.
And the other one that I have to highlight, because it's one of the most out there episodes we've ever done, and it was also one of our top episodes from the last year, was a little series called Oopsie, which you may or may not have seen. flooding pre-rolls, but and it was a episode called The Milkmaid. Okay, so I'll give you the history behind the episode, and then you can fill people in on like the making of the episode. So we take a lot of inspiration. Oopsie takes a lot of inspiration from some of our popular like animated projects that we work on, right? And attempts to take stuff that like has been popular in the animated world and recreate it in the live action world. And so there was a very popular episode of one of our partner series that involved women being milked like, I guess, like cows. Like breasts being milked and like trans women being milked. It was just like a lot of milking happening. And so I produced that content, and our team came up and was like, we want to try to make this like real life live action. And I was like, okay, like we got to build these tables. We got to do all this stuff. And so we partnered with one of our favorite studios to kind of create the set. And we knew we needed the right mix of people to be able to pull this off. And that's where you come in. So what was it like recreating that like farm barnyard scenario with milking. I think it was Izzy Wild and Eva Maxim, I think.
Yes.
Yeah. So what did it feel like to be the farm girl milking Eva Maxim and Izzy Wild?
Firstly, it was an honor because they're both spectacular and gorgeous human beings. So I was like, okay, I'm very lucky, very, very lucky today. And then also just walking into the set, I never know what I'm going to get from you guys walking onto that specific set because it's like walking into an alternate reality every single time.
True that.
Yeah.
Shout out Studio NB.
Yeah,
They do great work.
crazy. So yeah, I walk in and there's hay everywhere, hay and pumpkins, and I was just like, oh, okay, like this is gonna be interesting. And then we see the milking tables. Oh, there's fuck machines. There's so much happening. And then yeah, I guess the bulk of it was the milking, getting the milking done.
Yeah. Which when people need to understand, like we're operating on a certain budget here, right? So like we don't have a lot of time to R&D. You know, we have to like take a concept, do our best to prepare for like how to execute it on the day of. And I think in that case, like the holes were not big enough, or like there was like some issue where like the actual milking apparatus there was a lot of trial and error that day.
A lot of trial and error, a lot of moving parts to it, but eventually we figured it out where it's, you know, the fans are getting this like amazingly silly, well shot scene where they're getting the right angles and they're seeing people being milked, but you know, in reality, it's like we have one guy like bouncing on top of the tables holding like the milk and it's like going down the little drain, and I'm here trying to like line up the drain with titties and line it up with dicks to be like, okay, like gotta make sure the camera doesn't see that. And then I'm like still have to do the milking motion while I'm trying to hide this tube while JJ Graves is like just standing up out of shot pouring milk in the cylinder. And the girls are just laying there. Like, we're like, you good girls? You need anything?
With being fucked by fuck machines.
And then we bring in the fuck machine.
Which that, to me, actually one of my biggest lessons from the last year, and in large part has to do with scenes that you've been in, is like anytime you introduce a fuck machine into a scene, don't assume that's like a fast thing. You got to angle the right way. The speed is like a little scary.
Oh, yeah.
Like fuck machine equals like a fairly intense setup, and like you do not shoot that quickly.
Oh no, because then it depends on the machine too. Like how stable is the bass? Is it making a noise? Is it tilting it? Like that's in itself. And then this was on top of milking tables too, at an angle.
So the fans should know what goes in to these concepts.
So much effort went into that shoot. Like so much effort on everyone's part. Like,
but it killed. The scene killed. It did what it was supposed to do.
It did do what it was supposed to do.
It did what it was supposed to do. And, you know, and we learned something.
Yeah.
So if you were ever like, we actually did do a sequel.
Is there a Milkmaids 2?
There was a Milkmaids 2. Because Milkmaid 1 was such a success. But Milkmaid 2, like it didn't quite hit as much as like whenever you do something like Milkmaid 1, like sequels are hard to beat the original.
They always are.
Yeah,
they're fun.
They're fun.
They're fun and they're great, and especially if it's a great like story or concept.
Yeah.
I think it is great to bring it back and like see more of it.
Yeah,
it's always such a good fun.
It is. Yeah, but it started its own movement, Milkmaid.
Now everyone's gonna be like professional milkers. Everyone's gonna like have the milking setup down now.
Yeah, there you go. All right. You ready for rapid fire?
Oh God, yeah.
What is your definition of amazing sex?
Ooh, my definition of amazing sex. It's whenever there is like not just like a physical attraction, but like a biological attraction. Like to me, amazing sex is when you don't feel like a human anymore and you feel like a feral animal out in the wild, getting tangled and lost in each other. To me, that's amazing sex.
Yeah, that is an amazing answer. What's something non-sexual that turns you on?
Ooh, non-sexual that turns me on. I want to say like self-control, like measuredness. People who have just like a good level-headed like measuredness to how they just navigate.
Yeah, like calm, cool, collected.
Yeah, those people. The people who like reek of stability.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's attractive.
People that don't like don't have panic attacks every other minute. Yeah. What's your best blowjob tip? This is for me personally. What's your best blowjob tip?
Ooh, best blowjob tip. Use lots of spit. Just lots of spit. Yeah, because I'm not a deep throater. I can't deep throat. I cannot do fancy pants oral tricks. I will never win orgasmic oralist anything. So my tip is just sloppy. Make it spit. If you're having fun with the mess, people tend to not notice you've only put like 2 inches in your mouth.
Yeah, that's true. What's the strangest place you've ever had sex?
Shit, I'm trying to think of like real life, because porn, it's every other day is a strange thing, you know? What you want? I've been fucked in a dishwasher, on a desk, in the washing machine. The weirdest place I've had sex? Goodness gracious, I don't know. I guess like somewhere like on top of like a parking structure in Vegas or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That to the average Joe, that's pretty out there.
Right?
Yeah.
Just like some public rooftop.
Yeah.
Fun.
You can get away real quick if someone comes.
Right? I've had sex on a lot of rooftops.
Yeah, all right. Rooftop sex. I like that.
Yeah.
And how many times have you been stuck in a washing machine?
Only a small amounts. I can feel it's about to start ramping up. I feel like pretty soon there's gonna be like more washing machines, more
just places to get stuck.
Yeah.
What would be like if you could pitch your like ultimate passion project around where you'd get stuck? Where would it be?
Can we get stuck on a bed?
Yeah, a comfortable bed.
Bed.
You just get stuck under the covers. Yeah,
the cozy covers.
That would actually be funny to do, to take like like kind of porn tropes and just do like hyper realistic versions of them. All right, so dating within or outside the industry. Any preferences? Any experiences, or is it just all fucked?
It's all fucked. There's pros and cons. There's pros and cons of dating in the industry as well as outside the industry. And then of course too, it's also just super dependent on like communication and compatibility.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, right now I'm experiencing a twofer. I'm in 2 situationships, one outside the industry, one in the industry. So I'm getting like
You're just doing the research to be able to answer that question.
Absolutely.
Like, super well. All right, my last question for you for rapid fire, and this is like probably the most thought-provoking question that we've had so far today. Mm-hmm. During sex, socks on or socks off?
Ooh, okay. That one really depends.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like I'm a foot girly. I like feet. So if like we're having a foot moment, everyone socks off.
Yeah.
Everyone.
Yeah.
But if someone's feet are like kind of janky and not quite ready for foot play, like if it's like a dude with nasty dude feet, socks can stay on.
Yeah.
And then occasionally I like to wear socks because I like the cute look of like the knee-high socks type moment. So if it's like for costuming, socks on, otherwise socks off because feet need to be played with.
Would you start socks on with the option to go socks off?
I do like the pulling the sock off. It gives like foreplay.
It gives it a little bit of something for everybody too, right?
It's like striptease moment. You get to undress.
Yeah.
It's all.
But then you run into the risk with the partner's feet that if you haven't pre-screened to the feet and you pull them off in the middle of the scene and they're not so nice. just put them back on?
If I'm having sex with someone, there's a chance I've pre-screened. I've
Yeah.
definitely taken a peek at the toes. I've definitely taken a peek while we're walking around.
Yeah.
I've looked on the internet. I found the feet.
Yeah.
I'll try to gauge out. I'm like, okay, who gets petties? Who takes care of their feet?
Yeah.
Like, who do I just know from seeing it that I'm probably just not even gonna want to go near that territory.
So everyone, if you're outside with Avery and you see her just peeking down, know that you're being you're being observed.
Yeah, I'm vetting the feet. Or you have to like look out for the people who keep their socks on, and when someone's like, you can take those socks off, and they get kind of shy. You just know.
Yeah, you just don't even ask.
Okay.
Avery, I could talk to you for hours, my friend. But thank you so much, everybody. We'll see you next time.